Alright, so I know it's been quite a while since my last video, and in this video I just want to break down exactly how I got to $1.1 million in revenue with my brand Paramedic Flash. And to be honest, I definitely think that I was going to hit $1 million really quickly with this brand. From the second that I thought of the idea for this brand, I knew from then it was $1 million idea, and that was because I did my product research, I did my competitor research, and I realized that there was nobody in the market trying to do flashcards for paramedics exactly how I wanted it to do it. So even from the second that I thought of the idea, I knew it was going to be $1 million idea. So as I mentioned in this video, I want to break down exactly every single mistake that I made that made me take up to 15 months to reach $1 million in revenue, because I definitely think that if I had the information that I had today back when I first started, it definitely would not have taken me 15 months to make $1 million. It probably only would have taken me less than 10 months, because I definitely think that once you have the right information in place, you're able to avoid a lot of mistakes that many beginners make. It's super easy, because once you have the inventory, once you have all the ad accounts set up, it's just how much money can you spend per day on advertising, and is your website optimized enough to handle that traffic? So we'll break down all of those mistakes that I made. But before we get into that, I do want to make sure that you guys actually believe that I made $1 million in revenue. So I'll quickly refresh my Shopify dashboard. As you can see, $1.08 million since September 16th all the way to today, which is December 17th. And if we look on Triple Whale, I recently crossed $1.1 million in revenue across Amazon and Shopify. And if you didn't know, Shopify actually accounts for TikTok Shop and website purchases, but it doesn't account for Amazon purchases. So on Triple Whale, I'm able to see all the numbers together. So if we hover over the little eye right here, it says Shopify total revenue, including TikTok Shop plus Amazon sales, it equals to about $1.1 million in revenue within this time frame right here. So you can ignore this total net profit right here. This is not accurate at all. This is more like 30%. The reason that it's wrong is because when it comes to softwares like this that track all of your expenses, it's really hard to have your net profit 100% accurate, because you're going to be adding different types of shipping costs. Maybe you switch 3PLs and they change the costs on you. Your cost of goods go up. You have custom expenses that you have to add in on the back end. So your net profit is really never going to be 100% accurate on external softwares like this. I would only rely on your QuickBooks or other software that you're using for accounting, on your P&L, your profit and loss statement. That is going to tell you exactly how much you netted on every single month and the year. So only rely on that for your total net profit. Never really rely on softwares like these for your net profit. The only reason I really use Triple Whale is to see how much money I've made in total between Amazon and Shopify, exactly how much I've spent on cost of goods. It also pulls in data from ShipBob, which is my current 3PL that I use to ship out all my orders. It tells me exactly how much I've spent on ads given this time frame. I've crossed over $200,000 in ad spend with an average of 5.4 ROAS. I'll go over all of these metrics in a different video, because most of these metrics can be a little confusing. So I'll definitely make sure to break them down in a different video. But I basically just use Triple Whale to make sure that I have all of my data in one place and I understand what's working, what's not working, what do we need to fix. And I also have people on my team that go over Triple Whale and talk to different departments, and that's how we communicate within our team. But going over the first mistake that I made with my brand was that I spent too much on my business credit cards, and I over leveraged the amount of credit that I had at the moment in the beginning. I never recommend taking out business credit cards or any type of business credit until you have a proven product and are ready to spend that amount of money. Because if you take out business credit cards, most of the time you're going to be influenced by the sign-up bonus that you get with these credit cards. It's probably going to be 100 to 150,000 points with the bank that issues a credit card, and you're going to see that you have to spend maybe 5-10K within 3 months to get that bonus. So you're going to artificially spend that money on stuff that you might not need in order to get that bonus. I went through that. I spent 15K within 3 months on stuff that I did not 100% need, and unfortunately I did get myself into a good amount of debt, so I had to take out personal debt in order to pay off the business debt, which was not pretty. And that's something that I definitely do not recommend anybody to do in the beginning. Make sure that you have a valid business idea and you are ready to spend this amount of money on either ads, cost of goods, whatever it may be. Just make sure that you're ready to spend that money before you take out credit cards or before you pull out any type of credit from any type of bank. The second mistake I made was that I did not anticipate how long it would take for my inventory to arrive to then ship out orders. So what I did is something that a lot of people don't do unless you have an actual brand, and I launched a Kickstarter campaign, which is basically just a platform to fundraise money for a project. It's mostly in pre-sales. People just pre-order your product off Kickstarter, and then you're able to fulfill them when you get the inventory. So it's more of a PR play. I don't really recommend doing it. After doing it myself, it's not something that I would do again. If you want to do pre-sales for your product, I just recommend throwing up a simple Shopify website. And it doesn't have to be super pretty, just take pre-orders through there. It's way easier than doing it through Kickstarter. It's much simpler if you use Shopify. And I actually waited way too long to place the order for the inventory. My manufacturer told me that it was gonna take like 30 days to manufacture the product. It was around 2,000 units, and then another 30 days to ship it to the US. So in total, it was going to be 60 days, but I kept delaying it and delaying the actual order because I wanted to make sure that the prototype was perfect before I placed the order. And even after I placed the order, I realized that it wasn't perfect. So even if your product is not 100% perfect, some people might disagree with this, but that's fine. You don't want to keep your customers waiting that long to get their order. By all means, make sure that the product is as good as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect before you place the order for the inventory, but you don't want to have your customers waiting too long, because even in my ad comments, people were saying that this is a scam. They were waiting months for their product and it never arrived. But I was doing my best to contact every single customer and tell them that, hey, we're going through some issues with our inventory. It's still on a cargo ship out at sea. You're going to get your order by this month. And unfortunately, I couldn't promise a certain date for them to get their order. So it was a quite bit of a mess in the beginning. But now that I realized it, I should have ordered the inventory a little bit sooner to make sure that my customers get it on time. In the beginning, when you're first starting your brand, nothing is gonna go perfect. I'm just trying to help you understand some of the mistakes that I made. That way you can avoid them or do the best you can so that they don't come out as bad as it did for me. The last mistake I'll talk about before I start going into the good things that I did that actually helped me get to $1 million rather quickly was that in the beginning, I was doing my own accounting. I did set up QuickBooks myself, and I connected all of my accounts to make sure that I was doing proper accounting, but I did not hire a CPA or an accountant early enough, because I think in the beginning as a business owner, you don't want to be doing some things yourself. Like obviously in the beginning, you have to wear all the hats. You have to be the marketer, you have to be the accountant, you have to be the guy that orders the inventory, you have to be the guy that sets up the website. So you have to wear the hats in the beginning, but once you get to a level where things are starting to grow, you don't want to be doing certain things like accounting by yourself. You don't want to be doing that yourself. You want to make sure that you hire somebody that's experienced in that field to do it the right way. Especially for accounting, I definitely think you should hire somebody for that. It's like a non-negotiable. The same way that QuickBooks is a non-negotiable, hiring somebody to do your QuickBooks is a non-negotiable, because if you fuck up or if you do something wrong, it's going to come and bite you in the ass at the end of the year when you have to pay your taxes. So hiring somebody to do your QuickBooks and your accounting is a non-negotiable. I highly recommend it. I mean, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars a month on an accountant or a bookkeeper to do that job for you. In the beginning, you just have to have a bookkeeper. But once you get to a level where you're making at least I would say $50,000 to $100,000 a month in consistent revenue month over month, you want to have somebody that does it all: bookkeeping, tax strategy, everything that has to do with your taxes and your accounting. You want one person, or at least a couple people, doing that for you, because that's what's actually going to maximize the amount of money that you keep in your pocket and don't pay to the IRS. Now let's go over a couple of things that I actually did right that actually helped me get to $1 million in revenue within less than 2 years. Now, most of you already know that when it comes to running ads, there's only a couple of platforms that people use in order to run ads on the internet, and that's Facebook and Instagram, Google, and TikTok. LinkedIn is more for other types of products and services that you want to sell, but when it comes to e-commerce, Meta, TikTok, and Google are the main ones. But a lot of people don't know that it's not just for running ads, and the way that I actually use Facebook is for a community. Way before I even started running ads, I created a Facebook group that I put a lot of people in there from TikTok videos that I was making, because what I did is I actually got the prototype for the product. I started filming videos of the prototype and asking people on TikTok, hey, is this something you would buy? And at the end of those videos, I would add a CTA, which stands for call to action, telling those people to join the Facebook group with the link in bio on my TikTok profile, and that would take them straight to the Facebook group. So I took everybody that was interested in the product, I would put them on this Facebook group, and now I have a direct relationship with all these potential customers or fans of your brand. The main goal of marketing or advertising is to acquire a customer as cheap as possible. Like, it should never be to spend as much money as possible to acquire a customer. That's actually the opposite of what you should do. You want to make sure that you get customers, possibly even for free. So from the beginning, even before I had the store, I would be putting people in this Facebook group, and that allowed me to have a direct connection with these customers or with these potential, customers or fans. And I would ask them, hey, is this something that you would like? Do you like this color? Do you like that color? You would get their opinion on stuff. And people here just post, hey, I just wanted to introduce myself, blah, blah, blah. And you start creating like a community around your brand, because when people get to interact with others that are just like them, it starts to feel more like a group or a group chat, a community. It doesn't feel more like you're trying to sell them on a product. So now I have a VA that comes in here every single day, and she posts informational content like this. We go over a generic name of the drug. All of this information is from my drug cards on Canva. So I basically just give my VA access to my Canva file. She takes that information, gets one card a day, and takes that information and posts it on the Facebook group. And I also have her posting it on the Instagram story and the Facebook page. So I basically just use this group for opinions from my customers, anything that they want to see. They even say I passed my NREMT, and the cards definitely helped. So it builds like a sense of trust in the community for the brand. And I definitely think it doesn't matter what type of brand you have. I don't care if you do supplements. I don't care if you do cosmetics. You need to have some sort of community or like group feeling to the brand, or else your customers are just gonna think that you're selling them all the time. I may be wrong on this, but I just think that having this group, especially when it comes to EMS, like, it's very, very specific, because EMS and the fire department are very, very strong. It's a very, very tight community that supports one another. So when you put them all in one place, it makes them feel more together and more, connected to one another. So that's why I definitely highly recommend creating some type of group. It doesn't have to be on Facebook. It can be on Telegram. It can be on Discord or whatever you want, on Skool. But I just highly, highly, highly recommend creating a group for your biggest fans, your customers. That way you can even get their opinions on future products. They can tell you what's going wrong with your products, what you should fix. So that's definitely one thing that I highly recommend you do when you start building your brand. Another thing that I highly recommend that you start doing is implementing your email and SMS flows and campaigns. A lot of people neglect this from the beginning because they're not aware of it. But if you didn't know, 20 to 30% of most of the brands that you know of their revenue comes from email and SMS. Now, if you see here, my total revenue from emails is $200,000, which equals to around almost 20% of my revenue. And if you didn't know, Klaviyo is the platform that I use to run my email campaigns and my email flows. And this is basically what it looks like. I use this platform only for emails, and then I use a different platform. I think it's called SMS Bump or Yadpo for SMS. And I basically collect all of my customers' emails, and then I strategically send them different flows depending on whether they add to cart and they drop off, or they go all the way to checkout, or if they were just browsing the site. So depending on what they do on my website, I send them a different flow. I'll be sure to make a separate video on just Klaviyo and talk about email flows, email campaigns, and how to do drops with your brand. A lot of people don't know that the main way to capture emails from your customers is to have a pop-up on your screen on your website, inviting them to submit their email or their phone number in exchange for a discount, in exchange for a free PDF or a free gift, whatever it may be. That is how you capture your customers' emails, and that is how you grow your email list. Fun fact, when you go to sell your brand to a buyer, they look at your customer list because they want to know how many customers you have direct access to, meaning how many emails do you have. So obviously, the more emails that you have on your email list, the more money you're going to get for your brand. I'll give you an example. If I have two brands, both have done $1 million in the same amount of time. One has collected 100,000 emails and the other has only 10,000 emails. Which one do you think is going to sell for more money? The one with 100,000 emails or the one with 10,000 emails? Obviously the one with 100,000 emails, because they have direct access to way more customers than the other brand. So I hope this gives you something to think about when you're starting your brand. You want to make sure that you're collecting as many emails as possible. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just make sure you set up a simple pop-up collecting emails from the beginning, because that way you can even leverage your email list on your ads on Facebook, and you can even run a separate campaign to just targeting those people on that list. But those were a couple things that I did wrong and did right in order to get to $1 million in revenue. I will be making more videos specifically on just Klaviyo. I'll be talking about Facebook, Triple Whale, every single tool that I use now, especially ClickUp. I've been using ClickUp now for business management and task management, so I can add all of my team members, make sure that I'm organized for everything. It's definitely something that I'm going to be using long term, and it's also going to be helping me get this brand ready for sale. So I hope you guys got a lot of value out of this video. I did want to mention that I recently just started a free Skool community, and this is for anybody that's looking to either start a brand or scale their brand to $100,000 a month in revenue, which is what I'm currently doing. I'm currently going to be making videos specifically for the Skool community, explaining in depth every single tool that I use to get to $1 million in revenue. It is going to be free for the first 100 people that join. I'm going to have the link in the description below. But if you're looking to either start a brand, learn more about e-com, scale your brand to $100,000 a month, and just learn from all the mistakes that I've made in the past. I've been doing e-com for 4 years. Only recently, like a year and a half ago, I found success because I decided to actually create my own brand. And that's exactly what I'm going to be going over in the Skool community. I'm not going to be teaching how to dropship. I'm only going to be teaching you how to build a real and sustainable brand that you can later sell for millions of dollars. So if you're interested, I'll have the link below. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.